I obviously can't speak for everyone watching this video, but in my personal opinion, football discourse can get really tiring. And the reason I bring this up is because I was watching the Dolphins-Panthers game this weekend and just had a blast watching Rico Dowdle. It was a tightly contested game. He had a bunch of big runs. You had the basketball commentator calling the game who was absolutely electric. And after that game, I decided, you know what? I want to make a video about Rico this week. I'm going to watch the film, see how he looked, and if he looked good, I'm going to make a video. I watched the All 22, loved what I saw. I pulled together a couple plays that we'll talk about here in a moment, and then I went online to do a little bit of research. I wanted to see if there were any crazy stats from this game I could point out at the start of the video, or, any crazy tweets that I could throw at the beginning that were like, haha, that's funny, like Rico Dowdle, have my children, or something like that. Instead, I was greeted with a bunch of posts that just felt unnecessary. A lot of people saying, oh, this one game should give Rico Dowdle the starting job in Carolina over a proven back in Chuba Hubbard. And it made me realize that we can't just enjoy things anymore with football. Everything has to become some sort of take, some sort of opinion. We have to put everything into a box or into a list. And I'm not bringing this up because I feel like I'm on a high horse and I'm different. I do the same thing. I fall victim to it every single week. It just kind of comes with the territory. So in an effort to kind of break that cycle, I wanted to make this video not only to talk about how much fun Rico Dowdle was this weekend, but just to say, look, this was a great game. I don't think he should take Chuba Hubbard's job because of it. I don't think he's launched himself into a new stratosphere in conversations or whatever. I think you look at this game and go, wow, Rico Dowdle really stepped up for his team when they needed him, and that's awesome. And then we move on to next week. So that's what I want to do with this video. Without further ado, let's go ahead, dive into the film, and just appreciate a couple of really fun plays from Rico Dowdle. So the first play we're going to take a look at here is a pretty simple one. It's not one that is super exciting. It's not super flashy. It's not super sexy. There's plenty of those that we're going to be talking about. I think he had, 3 carries of over 40 yards, a couple other explosive runs. We'll get to all those. Definitely stay tuned for them. But instead, we're going to be leading off with a 3-yard run pretty early on in the game. If I'm not mistaken, this was his second carry of the game. And the reason I want to lead with this is because I feel like it perfectly represents Rico Dowdle as a rusher. And that is somebody who has really good vision, really good contact balance, and knows when to just get upfield, right? There's a lot of running backs who kind of dance around, waiting too long. They don't have that feel for when it's time to just get upfield, and I think Rico Dowdle absolutely has that, and it's all on display on this play. Granted, it's not super explosive, but I think this is the bones of what you're getting with Rico Dowdle as a football player, and it can lead to some of the more explosive plays that we will take a look at. So we'll go ahead here and get into this. We're going to bring a man in motion, and right away, as Dowdle's getting this football, the number one thing we got to look at is number 25, this linebacker. This is going to be the key, and this is going to decide what Rico Dowdle does on this play, because as you can see, we have a lane here in the A gap, we have a lane here in the C gap. So what's happening here is we have a combo block between the guard and the tackle here. And 72, once the nose tackle here is handled, is going to climb to the second level and block 25. That's the design. Now, obviously, Dowdle would ideally like to go through the A gap here because look at all of that green, right? You want to hit that. You, as a running back, feel you can hit that and get out in the open field and make a big play. However, if he has to take this lane here through the C gap, then it's not the end of the world. He can probably get about 5 yards. Sure, you got to worry about 20. You got to worry about 21 up here, but it's doable. Instead, what's going to end up happening is once Dowdle starts to kind of press the line here, and the idea here as he's cutting up is he's trying to pull 25 into this lane so he can shoot through this lane. If he can pull 25 downhill, 72 can wall him off, and we can get upfield, right? However, little wrench gets thrown into that as Bradley Chubb is now getting off his block, getting into the backfield. And also, it doesn't look like 72 is in the most advantageous situation here. So you can see Dowdle continues to press. He's waiting for 72 to get upfield. 25, however, is reading this perfectly and is going to quickly step down into the A gap here. We continue it just a moment. You see that's happening. And then also, Brady Christensen is not holding his block very well. The nose tackle has kind of taken this block off the menu. So that leaves Rico Dowdle with an opportunity to bounce this further outside to the third lane, which is now being set up by Cade Mays. If we can get a block here, 94 is turned around, doesn't know what's going on. If we can get our block here and our block here, Dowdle still has quite a bit of green grass downfield. Instead, unfortunately, he's going to get brought down. Only ends up getting about 3 yards there. But like I said, he knows how to get upfield. You see right about here, instead of trying to bounce this out further or do anything cute, he's going to redirect himself. So he is falling forward for yards, getting himself upfield. You see he falls backwards so he can get those extra yards. And also the footwork here is pretty nice. You see that one cut right there, and then one cut right there, pressing the line. Again, this is, in my opinion, the 3 traits that really stand out with Rico Dowdle. In this play, even though it wasn't super explosive, is a prime example of those 3 traits on display, and then we can take those and translate them to the bigger plays that he's going to have throughout the rest of this game. The second play we're going to take a look at here is the first carry of the second quarter for Dowdle, and I am going to apologize in advance. I don't know what's been up with NFL Pro for me the last couple days. Maybe it's just an internet issue. I'm not sure, but it keeps getting a little pixely. So if that happens, I do apologize. But unfortunately, at this current moment, there's nothing I can really do about that. But this play right here is going to be an 11-yard rush for Rico Dowdle. We're going to take this ball right through the B gap between the tackle and the guard here on the left side of our screen. Just for reference, for the rest of this video, if I say left, I'm referring to our left. If I say right, I'm referring to our right. Not going to do it the other way around because it gets a little confusing. So if I say left, I mean over here. If I say right, I mean over here. So we're going to take this through the B gap on the left side of your screen. And what we're going to do to make that happen is we're going to manipulate these 2 linebackers. Once again, these are the 2 notable defenders on the play. We've got a combo block here between the guard and the center. Mays needs to get uphill and take care of 25. And then what you want to do with 20 is get him lost in the sauce over here, right? Somewhere in this area, someone will pick him up. You're getting a double team here. Perhaps you want 78 to climb uphill, or you can just get him to bite downhill and not really be a part of the play. So in order to do that, Rico Dowdle is going to do a great job with just a little subtle eye manipulation. You can see right there, his eyes are looking into this gap over here. 25 is showing his body language. He wants to fade to the right here. In 20, he's settling down with the expectation that he's going to meet Rico in the hole. This is going to put 25 in position to get blocked by Cade Mays. And then, as I already said, Dowdle is going to be able to explode through this gap that's developing. We have a nice block here on 94 as well. So you see Mays, he engulfs the linebacker, and then 20 is getting picked up here. And Dowdle has a lot of green in front of him. He explodes through the hole. Nice tackle there from the DB, but that is an 11-yard pickup. We take another look here, a little bit quicker. See, he plants that foot on the right side of the screen here. That once again signals to them, the linebackers, that he wants to cut this to the right side, and then instead explodes to the left. So just a really good job there with a little subtlety. I'm going to rewind this a bit so the screen isn't as buggy there as I'm finishing up here. Really good subtlety with the eye manipulation, pulling the linebackers into disadvantageous situations and opening up for his linemen to set the necessary blocks for a notable gain. Sticking in the second quarter for our third play, this is going to be another very subtle but very nice move and a little bit of manipulation by Rico Dowdle on what is a 14-yard run. He ends up picking up an extra 4 or 5 yards at the end of this because of it. And again, to the naked eye, that might not seem like a lot, but that's 5 yards closer to the end zone. So we'll take a look here. And right away, what I like about this play is Dowdle is patient. He does a good job following his blockers. He doesn't try to explode right away. You can see a little bit of hesitation there as he waits for the guard to get over and pick up Jalen Phillips, the guard does a great job shooting Phillips upright. And now, once again, we've got to worry about number 20. Dowdle can see him out of the corner of his eye. He has the advantage on the tight end here. He has his hand in the chest. He's sitting in an advantageous situation or an advantageous position. Dowdle knows if he cuts this up normally or if he cuts it too close to the tight end, then 20 is going to just undercut him immediately. So instead, he's going to step inside and press his blockers here, who are both in advantageous spots, and create as much separation between himself and the linebacker as he possibly can. You see right there, by pressing those 2 blockers, he creates just that little bit of distance between himself and 20, and that is enough to where he feels confident about the matchup, right? and that is going to enable him to pick up some extra yards. I should also point out right about here, where he plants that outside foot, a foot furthest to the left side of your screen, that does create a little bit of hesitation out of the linebacker. I'll play it in full speed so you can see. It creates just a tick of hesitation from that linebacker, and that causes even more separation between the two. So again, sometimes it's the subtle things, and Rico Dowdle, at least in this game, was very, very good at the subtle things. You see there, we're going to try to shimmy a little bit to maybe pick up a couple extra yards. Doesn't quite work out for him. That's not Dowdle's style. He's more of a north-south runner than he is an east-west runner, but nonetheless, very good run for a pickup of 14 there. This next run here is a little bit of a shorter one, only 3 yards, but it does move the chains, and I promise it is the last one that we're going to take a look at that does not at least go for 15 yards. This is the shortest run we have left. And the reason I want to show it off is because of the vision, the contact balance, and then that knowing when to get upfield. This play has all 3 of those. So we'll go ahead and take a look here. You see right away, we've got 2 pulling guards. We've got an edge running free here that unfortunately is not going to get blocked because of a little traffic here. And then we've also got Jordan Brooks to worry about. I know I keep just calling him 20. Jordan Brooks is a stud downhill run defender, and in most situations, he's going to cause a lot of problems. Dowdle just happened to have a good game against him. So, continue on with the play here. We get put in a pretty impossible situation here. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place with Jalen Phillips running free here, and then Jordan Brooks setting the edge perfectly. Dowdle can't cut upfield because, number 1, Jalen Phillips, but also number 2, the tight end here is not getting upfield quick enough. So instead, Dowdle has to bounce this outside. And because of that, one could argue that the best thing to do here is bounce this out around Jordan Brooks, right? However, Brooks is going to do a great job of setting the edge here. Because of that, you're not going to be able to get out around him unless you're like a super, super elusive back. And we know Dowdle isn't quite that. So instead, Dowdle's going to make a really nice cut and get skinny in between Chubb and Brooks. So we'll go ahead and pause right there. This cut right here is really, really nice. You get low, you shift the weight, and you get uphill. Now, obviously, you know you're going to get tackled here because Jordan Brooks, you have a guy here. You might get tabletopped by the defensive lineman that's on the ground here. But no matter what, you're probably going down. But Dowdle looks at this and says, I'm not going down without a fight. So he shifts that weight, gets uphill, continues to churn the legs, and picks up 3. And again, not a big run, but it picks up a first down. You convert here. That's what matters. And it's because of Dowdle recognizing his talents because, again, a lot of backs probably are going to try to bounce this outside. And it makes sense. You've got a hat on a hat here. You've got some green grass. You've got a man on the ground. Maybe you got to worry about 29, but I would imagine you're hopeful that Tremble here gets up out of his long snapper stance and can pick him up. Like, it would make sense to want to take the bigger play here, but Dowdle recognizing his abilities, knowing that he is not that type of back. He's not an east-west runner. He is a north-south runner. He gets downhill. This is not his game. He knows. He wants to get downhill. There's a lot of yellow on your screen. He wants to get downhill and pick up as many yards as he can because that is his game. That is his skill set. He knows what he's capable of, and he is not going to try to test that in a situation where he knows he can convert. All right, finally getting into the plays that you guys want to see, the big 25-yard run starting us off here. There's not a lot to break down, but we are going to break down the little bit that can be broken down because the rest of it is just Rico Dowdle getting down and dirty against a defense that is kind of broken. A lot of breakdowns here, so we'll go ahead and get into it. And right away, there should be a tiny bit of familiarity. We look back to that first play. We've got a combo block here on the nose tackle. We've got Jordan Brooks sitting with 2 open lanes in front of him. We're trying to set up that combo block to take care of Jordan Brooks. So what does Rico Dowdle do? He's going to fake that he wants to take this lane and then bounce out around and take this one. We have our block set. We'll have one man to beat downfield, and we're confident that Rico Dowdle can beat Davis downhill. So what's going to happen here? We're going to take this handoff, and his eyes immediately shift to the B gap here on the right side. That's going to bring Dodson downhill into this block. It's going to avert Brooks's gaze, and the hope here is that Mays can take advantage of that wall off And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Instead, a lot of bad is going to happen up front. We see Ike Ekwonu starts to get beat. We see Dodson's getting some penetration here. And as he's getting that penetration, you can see the legs are about to get tangled here, and Mays is going to get tripped. Doesn't really have much of an impact at all on Brooks, quite frankly. This is an unfortunate screenshot. Just pushing Mays away by the forehead. But Dowdle, he stays calm, he stays collected, he presses the line anyways, shoots through his gap. You can see here we're getting a little bit of an arm tackle attempt from Kenneth Grant. He pays no mind to it, he runs through it, and then we're going to get some really good ball security here. And we're going to play a little counting game. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Miami Dolphins in this area with not a lot of help from any Carolina Panthers. You've got Brady Christensen on the ground. You've got these two guys. They have no idea what's going on. We've got somebody back here holding on for dear life. So obviously, in a lot of scenarios, this is not going to end well for Rico Dowdle. However, Rico Dowdle is built different. So he's going to lower that shoulder, get through, keep fighting. We get a 7th Dolphin coming off the right side. He says, "Get off me." And he carries him for, as I said, a 25-yard pickup. He made the right read. He did the right thing from a play standpoint. And then when things fell apart, he put the Dolphins on his back, ran through them, and turned it into a 25-yard pickup. This is an awesome, awesome run. This is exactly what I love about Rico Dowdle, having the strength, having the contact balance to make a play after reading out the defense perfectly, and things started to fall apart. Just really, really good stuff there, and just a taste of what's to come for the last few plays we're going to be taking a look at. Next play we're going to take a look at here as we get into the second half, full transparency, is primarily really good blocking. But that being said, Rico Dowdle does do a few things that stand out on this play and elongate it. Like, he is the reason this run ends up being as long as it is. And it's not just because he's able to break away or anything like that. It's because of the way he attacks certain situations. So we'll go ahead and take a look here. So we're going to toss this football, and you can see we've got a puller here to take care of the linebacker. We've got a hat on a hat here. We've got a hat on a hat here. We've got a hat on a hat here. We've got a down block. Then we've got 70 and 68 climbing to the second level. Jordan Brooks over here, the man we've talked about so very much, is out of the play. He has to respect that this could be a boot from Bryce Young with a receiver, running into the flat. Bradley Chubb also hesitates because of that. So we don't have to worry about these two defenders. We're worried about everyone over here on the left side of the screen. Dowdle's only job is to follow this lane that's going to get opened up for him. You see they're like parting the Red Sea here in Miami. Carolina is doing it in Miami. I almost said it was in Carolina, but they are the road team here. Anyways, we've got a nice block here. Got a nice block here. The first player we have to worry about is 94, who is kind of having his way with Cade Mays here. How are we going to handle that? A nice, subtle little cut. You can see we have a ton of green grass to utilize here. So Rico Dowdle is going to utilize it. And by stepping inside and making this cut back outside, 94 has to hesitate for just a moment. By forcing that little bit of hesitation, he pulls him out of position to make a play, and we can move on. Next guy we got to worry about, 25 here, who at this very moment is not exactly accounted for, right? We have 68 who's blocking him into traffic, into the play, and we've got Christensen, who is obviously supposed to be walling him off, but hasn't quite gotten there. I know this screenshot is funny. It makes it look like Christensen is kind of standing here nonchalantly looking at him like, what do you want me to do with him, boss? You know, kind of like a mob goon. But he's going to end up turning his back here and walling off. And that is going to help us a ton because Rico Dowdle's able to take advantage of that. And I just noticed he's opening the lane for him. He's literally saying, "After you, my good sir," going from mob goon to concierge here. And the reason Dowdle is going to play this so tight is because of Jones. We have to worry about Jones because he's unblocked, right? He is the only guy here who is not accounted for. You see, boom, 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 boom. The only guy in front of us that is not accounted for is 23. So the best thing we can do is create as much separation between himself and Dowdle as possible. In order to do that, he presses close to Christensen, as we've talked about. And then you see here, he gets even skinnier by pulling the football up and gets away from him. Now, the only guy we have to worry about is Minkah Fitzpatrick, who unfortunately, spoiler alert, is going to end up chasing down Rico Dowdle. But at this point, we're at about what, the 41, 42 yard line where this starts? Take a look where this play ends. All the way up here at the 17 yard line. You can't really see it, but for reference, it ends at the 17 yard line. Why do I bring that up? Because a little angle here that Rico Dowdle takes, he goes from cutting inside to cutting back outside. By taking that angle, he creates a ton of separation between himself and Minkah, and by doing that, he extends this play an extra 40 or so yards. So yeah, it was blocked very well, but it's not a 53-yard pickup if it wasn't for Rico Dowdle and the way he handled this play and the way he approached some of the different angles and defenders throughout the play. Jumping all the way to the fourth quarter now, this is going to be another very big run for Dowdle that is set up by his vision. So we'll take a look here as we bring a man in motion. And right away, you can see we've got a pair of combo blocks here. And 68 needs to climb up, pick up 3. 70 needs to climb up and pick up 21, I believe it is. So because of that, Dowdle recognizes that he could have two possible lanes. You could have a lane here, you could have a lane here, and then a cutback lane will also develop. So you need to keep your head on a swivel and figure out what's going to develop. We take this handoff, we manipulate 3, get him to step down in the hole, but he does a really nice job of attacking the outside shoulder of 68. By doing that, he takes away this lane. So now as Dowdle, we need to recognize, okay, this lane's gone. Looks like there's nothing here. So what can we do? Well, we've got 82. He's up against Jordan Brooks. That doesn't look very advantageous. Jordan Brooks looks like he has that situation under control. So as Dowdle, we're thinking in our head, okay, we just need to make something happen. We can see a lane start to open up a little bit right here, but again, don't know how much we trust Tremble versus Brooks. Instead, at the last possible moment, we get a hero moment from Cade Mays, who does a great job slamming into the linebacker, slamming into number 3, and Dowdle, as it's occurring, plants this inside foot and shoots through the gap. This is great burst on this play to shoot through that gap. And then obviously the grown man run at the end lets a couple guys bounce off of him, holds on to the ball, doesn't get stripped. Just a beautiful job across the board. And shout out to Cade Mays for one hell of a block. Shameless plug here, made a YouTube short and a TikTok that you can go check out about Cade Mays being really entertaining in this game for good and bad reasons. And I don't remember if I talked about this play, but this was a pretty good job by Mays, who got bullied a couple times. But regardless, in terms of Rico Dowdle here, this plant as the block is setting up to explode through this hole is absolutely beautiful. It's a very nice run. And again, without the vision, he doesn't see that hole open up. You can see his eyes were directed this way. He has Bradley Chubb thinking he's going that way. There is a little bit of a hole here, but this is obviously way easier to hit and will get you just as many yards if you're Rico Dowdle. Just an awesome run. I mean, I could watch this all day, between Mays flattening a dude and Dowdle's vision, and oh my god, this is why I love football. Plays like this are why I love football and why I love breaking down film. And finally, the last play we're going to take a look at here is Rico's touchdown. Figured it was only right to cap off the day with his score. And before we actually get into breaking down the film, let's play another little counting game, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tight ends on the field with 1 running back. That means we are in 14 personnel, just as the good Lord intended. 14 personnel heavy set with an extra eligible offensive lineman. I believe it's Josh Neiman, I believe is how you pronounce his name, former Green Bay Packer. That's why I know him as a Bears fan. But this is a beautiful formation. And speaking of things that are beautiful, look at Cade Mays on this play. I want to make it clear, I know I keep making fun of Cade Mays, but I've also given him his flowers when he's done well, because in this game, it was one extreme or the other for him, at least from what I saw. I'm not trying to make a statement about Cade Mays as a player. I have not watched enough Cade Mays to be like, oh, he's great or oh, he's terrible. Again, in the whole living in the moment mentality of this video, Cade Mays was pure entertainment in this game, and we'll see on this play lined up at center. He gets absolutely leveled while trying to reach block there to the left side. But thankfully, 79 does his job. You can see here we're attacking the left shoulder of the defensive lineman, and that is going to open up our hole here. We've got 68 pulling to the outside. We've got a combo block here, and then 77 is going to climb to the second level, take care of Brooks, and Dowdle is going to follow and slip in this gap in here, the C gap. I almost called it the B gap because obviously you see two linemen, you're thinking on the edge with the tight end on the outside, okay, B gap, but no, we've got an extra eligible tight end, or eligible lineman at tight end, excuse me. So that is the C gap on this play, but regardless, you see that little bit of space opens up. If we pause right about here, Rico sees it developing, he sees his moment, and as we've talked about Rico, his big trait, one of his big traits, I should say, is his ability to just get upfield, to just get to where he needs to go. Very good north-south runner. And because of that, you see he's going to lower the shoulder, drive, and he ends up in the end zone. Hard to see from this angle, but he does get in. He does fall in there. And this is a really, really solid run. You know, nothing flashy. Getting himself in the end zone, identifying his lane. You can see right here where I've paused. There's actually a decent little lane here. 79 Aquanu, shout out to him. Great block here. He does what he needs to do. You can see 85 ends up getting beat, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because our boy Rico gets into the end zone for the touchdown. But anyways, folks, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like down below, as it does help out the channel a ton. It shows your support, it shows you care, and I really do appreciate it. Also, make sure to let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this video. Are you a big Rico Dowdle fan? What did you think of this game? What did you think of his performance? Anything like that, I'd love to be able to hear from y'all. And also make sure to subscribe for more NFL content coming your way throughout the rest of the regular season, into the offseason, and beyond. And above all else, as I already said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it because you're all wonderful people and you truly do deserve it.
Had a chance on the throwback. This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder. Wow. Using that